think that is me. I think that's where we're at and how we're feeling and what we're getting up to. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It feels super weird because I'm filming for the first time in a proper like sit down location in my brand new like home. I've got my beautiful new bookcase behind me and it all just feels really cool but also really weird. It hasn't sunk in yet, I don't think. So I wasn't sure what kind of video I wanted to film today. I did think about doing a September reading plans, even though it's like halfway through September, a sort of reading update to let you guys know what I'm currently reading. But I've also realised that the books I plan to read in September, I no longer really want to read. I've bought some new books. There's just a lot going on. So instead, we're just going to have a sort of reading/Shannon catch up. But I do, of course, firstly want to get into the books I am currently reading, and the main one that I am and have been reading since the beginning of September, and I'm listening to it on audiobook, but that is, of course, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, because this is the September book pick for the I Should Have Read That book club, which is hosted by myself, the lovely Charlotte from Coiny Reads, and the lovely Caris from Caris's Corner, who I will link obviously in the description box. The live show for Pride and Prejudice will be on Charlotte's channel, as this is one of her favourite books, so it only felt right that she host it. And it is very exciting to be reading a book for our book club that is one of our hosts' favourite books as well. I can say I have absolutely devoured the audiobook so far. I'm listening to the Rosamund Pike narrated Audible audiobook, and stupidly, so fun fact, I hadn't been using Audible that much and I had loads of leftover credits. I spent all my credits on non-fiction books I have that are on my TBR, and then I realised you can pause your membership and you don't have to spend all your credits, but I'd already spent all my credits, but I thought I'd pause it anyway for a few months, and then I realised I wanted to listen to this on audiobook, so I unpaused my membership, got a refund on a book that I only listened to like the last chapter of, and realised that this was part of like the Audible sort of like listening thing, so I didn't even need to use a credit on it, so the whole thing was just a massive faff for no reason. And I'm going to put my tea down because I just went to drink it and it's still really hot, but I forgot because it's a double-walled glass mug, so I was like, oh, this has cooled down loads because I can hold the mug, but no, it hasn't, and I'm going to burn myself. So yes, I am currently on page 167 of Pride and Prejudice, and I love this gorgeous edition which was gifted to me by Mary from Mary Among Stories, and I've decided since getting my lovely bookcase that I think I want to collect these vintage classic Jane Austen editions. I've read Emma, but I bought it in a different edition, but I want this one now. And yes, I can say I am thoroughly enjoying this, and I can see why people love it so much. But that is all I'm going to say for now on this. And because I am listening to it on audiobook while I'm doing other things, I'm probably going to want to watch an adaptation before the live show. So I think I'm going to watch both the BBC TV adaptation and the Keira Knightley film as well, because 2 is better than 1. So in terms of the other books I'm currently reading, the last time I did an update on the books I was currently reading, I think it was in my last either reading plans video or one of my wrap-up videos, and I mentioned all 5 of these books. I have not since read a single page of any of these books, so I'm still basically either halfway or over halfway through all of these books. So yes, I'm just gonna put them down. I'm just gonna put those down. But to be fair to myself, I have been moving, so it's not like I've had a lot of time to read. And I'm kind of putting that pressure on myself that, oh my god, I haven't read a single page of any of these books. But I did move house, so that's why. And now I want to move on to some of the books that I have bought recently or have been gifted by publishers and sent like arcs of. And yes, by bought books, I do mean I have bought more books since my massive summer book haul. But we're gonna move on from that. So these next two are books that have been sent to me by publishers just as like review copies or gifted copies, if that makes sense, and both of which that come out in September. So the first one is How to Think Like Shakespeare by Scott Newstock, and this one was very kindly sent to me from Princeton University Press, and it is released on the 28th of September, so later on this month. I am hoping to finish it by then because I've just read the epilogue, but it's really quick and the chapters are really short, and he explains in like the prologue or whatever the reason why the chapters are so short, because he is talking about obviously how to think like Shakespeare, but it is very sort of like not theoretical, what would I call it, academic I would say, and there's loads of quotes which I loved from the bit that I have read so far from Shakespeare and other people to help him prove his points or get his points across. So yes, I do think if the chapters were any longer it might be a bit too dense, but because they're short and snappy I'm kind of excited to pick it up and sort of see what Scott thinks about how to think like Shakespeare. But I will of course talk more about this one when I have read it in a monthly wrap-up video. And this next book is a proof copy that was very kindly gifted to me by Canon G7x, and it is released on the 23rd of September, but that is the Book of Form and Emptiness by Ruth Ozeki. So thank you so much again for sending me this, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's so pretty. And the synopsis just sounds like something right up my street, something I'll really enjoy. And I do want to start this one this month. But I'm going to just quickly read you the synopsis so you know what this is about. 1 year after the death of his beloved musician father, 13-year-old Benny O begins to hear voices. These voices belong to the things in his house. Although Benny doesn't understand what these things are saying, he can sense it in their emotional tone. When his mother develops a hoarding problem, the voices grow more clamorous. At first, Benny tries to ignore them, but soon the voices follow him outside the house onto the street, driving him at last to seek refuge in the silence of a large public library. There he falls in love with a mesmerising street artist, and he meets his very own book, a talking thing who narrates Benny's life and teaches him to listen to the things that truly matter. The Book of Form and Emptiness blends unforgettable characters, riveting plot and vibrant engagement with everything from jazz to climate change and our attachment to material possessions. This is the classic Ruth Ozeki, bold, humane and heartbreaking. Everything about that just sounds so intriguing and interesting, and I love it when it's sort of maybe not magical realism, but when, you know, real life kind of meets this sort of strangeness, especially if libraries and books are also involved, and if it's about life and what life means. I just love everything about that. So I cannot wait to dive into this one. And I just have a feeling it's going to be a really quick read for me, I'm hoping. But like I said, this is definitely one I want to start reading in September. Now let's move on to the books that I bought after I filmed my book haul. But it's mainly because me and my boyfriend went to Nottingham for our 3-year anniversary. We had a little weekend away and we had such a great time. And I, of course, went into Waterstones. And I bought 2 books, mainly to get it over the £10 so I could get a stamp, but everyone falls into that trap. But the first book I picked up was Homebody by Rupi Kaur. As you know, I recently read The Sun and Her Flowers and really enjoyed it. I just read it at the perfect time. And again, I feel like this one is kind of calling to me, and I might read this one soon as well, just because I've moved home and I feel like it might be about rooting oneself, and I definitely feel like I need to resonate with that or read some poetry about that. So very glad I picked this one up, and I can see myself reading it soon. And the other book I picked up was Actual Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, because I've got about 100 pages left of Dani Brown, and then I will probably want to speed through this one as well, while hopefully it's still kind of summery. I don't want to wait a whole year to read this. And it just felt wrong that I didn't have the 3rd book waiting on my shelf to be read once I finished Dani Brown. So very glad that I picked this one up. Now, would this channel be complete without me mentioning this book? No, it would not, because it's currently mid-September. This book has been out for less than a week, maybe about a week, I don't know. I pre-ordered it, it arrived late, I moved, and it arrived in my old place the day after I moved. So my boyfriend came round and dropped the book off, and then I finally opened it and saw how gorgeous it was, and I'm just so happy to have it in my life. But we are, of course, talking about the new Sally Rooney book, Beautiful World, Where Are You? And she's just so beautiful. She's just so beautiful. You can't really tell on camera, but it's not one of those dust jackets that's like plasticky. It's papery and it's so nice. It's got the lovely yellow, the yellow sprayed pages. It's got a little ribbon bookmark in it. It's just so lovely. The end pages are gorgeous, kind of random but gorgeous. I'll probably read the book and I'll know what the end pages mean. And yes, this one was going to be on my September reading plans. However, since moving, I'm really not in the mood to read it. And I know that sounds awful because I've been waiting for it for so long, but I really don't want to push myself to read this when I'm not in the mood, because why would I do that to myself? Obviously, I do know that once I start reading it, it'll be a completely different story, but for the meantime, I'm just not going to reach for it, like I said, until I'm in the mood for it. And there's going to be that time. There's going to be a gap. There's going to be a time. I do also think it's probably because I'm currently in the middle of so many other books. So since chatting to you, I think I have realised I do need to focus on finishing the books I am already reading, for me to then feel freer to fully focus on books such as this. I think that is me. I think that's where we're at and how we're feeling and what we're getting up to, and just the big old update for you guys. I do feel very much now, I think, in the mood to read. When I first moved in, it was very quiet. I found it kind of eerie. I didn't really enjoy it. So I had like Netflix on in the background constantly. But now I'm enjoying the peace and the quiet. So I definitely think I need to crack on with getting some books finished. And I might even do some vlogging so that you guys can kind of see me reading and me like pootling about my new flat. Yeah, so many options. So I'm just back and out of breath after the buzzer just went, because I got a lovely delivery of flowers from my boyfriend, delivered by my boyfriend, which was so lovely. So I'm gonna go and sort those out now, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye.